action, intelligence, and automation. And you might be wondering why I've put all of them together. Apart from the fact that they are all seem very intelligent words to put. Just give me a minute. So I like soap very much, but it can cause problems. Alright, but before I get started, let's make sure that we are all awake after a heavy lunch. Identify the person. No marks, too easy. Alright, good. You're awake, but that much is sure. Oh man, you're really too good. Okay. I didn't recognize this as Modi, but okay. Actually, I saw another picture which didn't look very much like this, but then I chose a picture that I could find another picture of Modi that would look sitting the same way and all that. Okay, so this must be also equally easy, right? Where is this? Several of us are Bangaloreans. Actually commercial. Must have been a nice place. People are going about in cycles and even the drain is uncovered, you see. The old time back, right? So this is reality, this is how it was. This is how it is today. Very, very different, right? Of course, I can't claim it's taken from the same angle, but I try to do whatever I do. This is 2012 Google Maps. Image date 2012. Identify the place in Bangalore. Does the road help you? Not electronic city. Not MG Road. Not Airport Road, not Old Madras Road. Let's exhaust here. Come on. So Ring Road is too big an answer. Ring Road is correct, but it's too vague an answer. Hey, Ring Road already hint is given. So those two circles that you see there, this is EcoSpace and this is roughly where the Intel campus is. So this should be fairly recent. It's out of Ring Road. But you know, so this is how this place was 10 years ago. So this is a Google Map image 2002, 3rd October 2002. Okay? So quite some change, right? So that is something that's the only thing that we can really believe is true. The only constant in life. And one of the things that you see with at least the city pictures, it's more obvious, is that there's a lot of scale. Like scale is a characteristic of change. So change doesn't happen where, unless there's a flood or something, change usually goes from there being very little to being a lot of organization. And the other part that I'd like to propose is that computer technology has its own role to play in this whole game. So if you see Commercial Street, from then to now, and our, of course, all of us will agree that ICT played a big role in the what's that area, Belandur area becoming the way it is, right? Because there's just too many IT companies out there. But in other ways. So this is an extreme example, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bangalore reaches this, right? It's not too surprising. Not very far from there. So it's about having high degree of organization. See, all these buildings, what do they represent to us? A lot of people working there, companies running, businesses running, high degree of organization. And these people actually need to communicate with each other. And not just these businesses, but individuals need to communicate with each other, right? So we have this society that we are building where these individuals and these companies, they're all connected to each other and they're trying to do something. In fact, we are trying to do more and more things through our connectivity. Let me tell you a little more about this. Let's take one of those buildings, right? It represents some company running some business, let's say, right? And it's making some money, some commerce. And what is the role of IT? Traditionally, it's been a supporting role, right? So all your SAP and your finances will be sitting there, and they'll take care of the accounting, do a little bit of data analysis, stuff like that. And that got transformed. So that glorified, and then something changed in around the 2000s. Okay? You recognize these companies, right? Okay, let's look at two classes of companies: Ericsson, IBM, ABB, one kind of. And there's Flipkart, eBay, Myntra.com. What are these? What does Flipkart mean to you as a business? How is it different from an Ericsson or an IBM? Service, then?
Service providers.
Service provider. Anything else? Let's just throw words. You don't have to give me some sentences.
Online shopping.
Online shopping, online.
Utilization of internet services.
E-commerce.
E-commerce.
Cross products.
Cross products. Okay, you're right. So one of the things is, so what I'm getting from all this is, one of the things that these companies like eBay, Flipkart, Myntra happened far more recently, right?
Yes.
There's a difference between the way their business depends on IT and the way traditionally business is dependent on it. For traditional companies, you used to have IT to support your business. Right? It is the backbone in some sense. But for these companies, IT is the way of delivering business. Right? So if you don't have an online portal, you can't go to Flipkart.com and buy anything unless you have or you go to the online portal. Right? There's no shop really. Right? Same thing with Myntra, eBay. And these bigger companies are slowly catching up to it, and IBM has some stuff that it offers online, HP has stuff it offers online, and so on and so forth. But the reality is that these companies, online companies, and as the word says, as somebody rightly said, the companies themselves are online. So IT is an integral part of the delivery of the business, not the support of the business. Okay? And this is growing at an alarming scale, because it has far less constraints, right, to grow a business to a large extent. And it brings its own challenges, and the speed at which this moves, there's a need to make this sustainable, or make this work in a fashion that is friendly to us. Okay? So we can always go and build lots of solutions, but how is it improving life? Right? And that's a question we need to ask. And my thesis is that the next generation of computing systems that will come, it's not about computers, it's about the way we will use them and the way they will play a role in our lives, is by enabling technology to support life in a sustainable fashion. Okay? And I'll tell you what that means. That means things like making sure that our social objectives are met, not just the business objectives of some companies. It's not about IT meeting the business objectives, it's about IT helping us do things sustainably. I'll paint the same vision in another fashion. Okay? So what we have now is, through IT, we've developed the ability to instrument everything in life. Okay, so here's an astronomical observatory, here's a factory, here's an individual, here's a train, here's the weather, some weather monitoring, and here are just some people having fun. Right? All these people generate lots of data. So that's what we've been able to achieve. That's what IT has been able to achieve. Right? IT, among other things, has been able to achieve the fact that a lot of people generate data. We can almost anything you want, you can find out something by doing a Google or something like that. There's a lot of data. But our goal of human enterprise in general, right? Not just pockets of commerce. Our goal is sort of like this, right? You want to make our lives better. Maybe make us more healthy people, make us more happy people. There was a time, I remember distinctly when I used to when we were children in school and we used to read history, there was a part about how people organize themselves, right? So earlier we were all hunters and then we started grouping ourselves and farming and then industries and all. All that is part of freeing up human time so that you can put in leisure activities. So you don't have to bother about getting your food. The technology should enable you to put your time doing more creative stuff. And not just creative, but things like lead a good life. So that in some sense, at some level, it's important for us to realize that we're all doing this get a better life. But doing that is hard work, right? So it's not easy to do things so that things are nice for us. And we are living in a world where we are hoping that from all the data that comes out here, you are able to use technology to munch that data. And at the end of the day, you do some hard work and maybe make life. And there will be some people who work and do specialized activity and make life good for everybody in the process. This is the big hope. Right? Technology will help us do that. And here is the middle sort of layer. Right? So from data, you want to be able to take some action and make sure that things work nicely. So, and by putting these pictures, I'm saying let's not limit it to commercially what's good, but to us as humans, as members of the society. Then to do that, we need to go through this phase where we're somehow able to convert lots of data into action. We want to be able to act. So there's a lot of data, a lot of instrumentation, we're getting good at that. A lot of data on the internet, but we want to be able to do things, want to convert that into doing things that are intelligent and useful and stuff like that. And then we need to talk about what's this thing in the middle. I need to actually analyze the data. So I'm sure you've heard of data analytics and so forth. So that's the part where you try to make information from data. I never understood the difference between the two, but you should think of it this way, that information is data put in some context. Right? And I'll come to that a little bit. And there's another facet to this that I want to add to this picture, and that's called the knowledge facet. Okay? And this is something that will be the focus of this talk. So I'll not be talking about getting data and doing analytics. No, that's not the part I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about something else here. Okay? So you should think that when I talk, I'm not talking about analytics. So I'm putting this in context so that you don't confuse what I talk about with analytics. But the goal is that it heavily works with analytics to deliver this vision. So let's see what this is. And hopefully, if we have done all this right, people actually are empowered and they be part of this cycle and it creates more value. Okay, so there are things that we looked at, right? Lots of data sources, highly complex system, and you want to create value. Three things I want you to take away. One is that there's a lot of complexity. Scale brings complexity. Simple. When the scale is very large, we can't do things manually. If the scale is large, we can't do things manually. Quite obvious. And doing all this, the reason to do all this is value creation. Somehow we have to create, so that means we have to do something very meaningful to the context. So you can't just put lots of instrumentation, get data, put a lot of machines there, but we want to make sure it does what we need to do. So that it's different from just having machines there. So now practically, let me go down a little bit and talk about some technologies that are relevant. So here we have a nice truck, and the truck carries a trolley. Okay, so one of the big trucks which have a trolley attached, and then in the trolley we may want to put a lot of containers. So these are containers containing maybe agriculture produce, food. Maybe they can contain some scooters that have to be transported from one place to the other. Whatever, maybe it's a courier transport, whatever. Right? Now what I'd like to say is that if you think of, let's say, this guy working like a Google car, right? So you remember what that is, automatically driven car, right? So it must have a lot of instrumentation around it, right? Something to tell it about the speed, the road condition, something to tell it about maybe the fuel, something to tell it about how heavy the payload is, blah blah blah. Maybe something to say where it is situated, blah blah blah. Similarly, instrumentation for these other things. Maybe this container contains instrumentation that's very interesting. If you could suppose you have a container that's a cold storage, right? So you are carrying something that has to be kept within a certain temperature. So you could have something that monitors the temperature. And why are you doing all this? Because you are entering a complex world and you want to be able to transport things in a way that maybe the food doesn't get spoiled by the time it reaches the destination. And in order to do that, you want to be able to constantly monitor this. So the aim of doing all this heavy instrumentation is two things. Okay? One is monitor, find out what's going on. Other is, if something is not okay, fix it. So we call that action or actuation. So you want to monitor, we also call it sensing, and you want to actuate. So now I just want to talk about those three keywords I talked about in the last one. So complexity is there, you have lots of sensors, right? And you can't actually do this, so it's very complex, but you can't do this just with a human intervention. At some point of time, you have to take the person out of the loop. If somebody who's performing, some doctor is there, right? He wants to know about a patient, he usually takes the BP and some few tests. But if you give him thousands of data streams simultaneously coming in, there's only so much that the doctor can do. But you can generate those data streams, right? You can instrument every part of the body and you can generate data streams. It doesn't mean that that person will be able to absorb it. We need some kind of automation to be able to understand the data, and then we also need automation to act on the data. Okay? So we are already good at automation that understands the data. In some sense, analytics is that. We have lots of data coming in, it tells us what patterns there are, but what actions to take is still not there with us. So if you look at what we have, let's see. We have a lot of things, right? So this starts looking like IoT now, right? You've seen IoT kind of. So there are a lot of things that are your assets and there are parameters that you maintain. So for example, in the previous example, each of those containers could be an asset. And then we maintain these assets. And we maintain them by getting some kind of a feed about the asset, get some data. And we can take some action also. So perhaps if we instrument the container nicely, it can, there's a nice sensor sitting there, it will measure the temperature and every 5 minutes tell us what is the temperature. Very simple. And hopefully, like you use a remote, you can press some button and it will actuate something. If you're standing in front of it and you press something, instead of physically going and turning the knob, it will actuate. So that's not a very big thing. I think we are already there. That's not a problem. But then when there are so many of these, you don't want to keep looking at the temperature, you want to somehow analyze what's happening. For example, you want to detect the trend and say, aha, temperature in this container is staying consistently above 20 degrees. And this is supposed to stay below 18. So there is a problem. So you want to detect, do analytics, detect patterns, detect anomalies. A lot of that is analytics. Then there's something more. How can I say that I've detected the temperature, I've detected it consistently above 20. How can I say the following? It is okay as long as the container reaches the shop in the next 20 minutes. I want to make that statement. Here's a container, I have detected an event, temperature is not good, but I'd like to make a conclusion. It's okay as long as the container reaches the shop in 20 minutes. For that, there's a lot of human understanding that went in to make that statement. I know what the container has, I know how long it's been there, I know that it can sustain. So there's a lot of context and meaning. There's already a lot of work going on in in associating meaning with the data fields. And some of the technologies like semantic web are enabling to do that. So I'm not even talking about the semantics. This talk is about the formal methods that we use about that. So data has come, we can actuate it, we can process, we can detect anomalies, we can even put it into some context hopefully. But then I need to do some reasoning in some cases, and I'll show you examples. You need to do some reasoning because when you detect something, you have to take an action. Ultimately, we want to take action. And we can't take actions unless we reason. I just now did some reasoning. I said, aha, this container, as long as it reaches the destination in 20 minutes, I'm okay. That's a reasoning. That's a reasoning. Okay? Or I can say, if I reduce the temperature then to 18 degrees, then I can continue to go for 3 hours. This is a reasoning. The reasoning helps us take an action. So this talk will actually about many technologies that go into that. And the whole idea of doing that is to meet some business objective. For example, in the transportation case, my objective was that the container should reach the destination with a certain volume. That was the business objective. Perhaps within a certain time. So, not go through this thing. So the part that I highlighted about reasoning and knowledge, I want to claim that knowledge is indeed the heart of what helps you take action. You know something and that helps you take action. Okay? So now I'll just take a small deviation here into knowledge management, at least at a very high level.